Today I will take over the implementation part. As you know, the norming automation is normally used for invoicing process like AP&PO invoice, and it helps the user to extract the information from a PDF and to read the key information like the invoice number, company name, and the amount, and even the detailed information from the image or PDF. And today we'll be working through how, as a consultant or you're from the implementation team, how you can configure the system to make the solution work well for the customer. And today we'll be covering the first is the AP invoice with OCR, then PO invoice. And at last, we'll look through some general setup that works for both AP and PO invoice. And for the first part of the training, we will start with AP invoice. And for some of you, if you don't have time to, I think Jinfang sent you some videos for the invoice process with OCR, but some of you may still new and don't have a chance to review the video. So I would like to go through the process with a very quick demo in like a 3 or 4, I think it's 5 minutes video to go through the process again. So everyone, we can make sure we are in the same page, and then we start to look at the configuration part of the solution. So the video can also be found on the norming website. And I'm now playing the video through the slides here. So let me open the slides and play the video.
Norming Resource Manager offers a complete end-to-end solution for purchase to pay, where AP invoices can be automatically generated from PO module. In this video, you will learn AP process automation for non-PO or service-based invoices. For AP teams,
I think we got some network issue.
invoice processing can be time-consuming and frustrating. Invoices come in all kinds of formats: is paper, email, scanned PDFs, and hours manually entering data into the ERP. That not only increases the risk of typos and coding errors but also causes delays in approvals, missed payment deadlines, or lost early payment discounts. Now let's see what features Norming Resource Manager brings to help you digitize and streamline your AP process. OCR Invoice. With AI-powered OCR, it extracts key details from your invoice files, and the machine learning technology will keep improving accuracy over time. So the more you use it, the smarter it gets. This eliminates manual data entry, reduces errors, and saves your AP team hours of work. Smart approval workflows. Invoices are routed automatically based on predefined rules, by amount, department, or project. It speeds up approvals and helps you avoid missed deadlines. Centralized invoice repository. All invoices are stored in a single, secure location, fully searchable and accessible anytime. No more digging through email chains or folders. Everything you need is just a few clicks away. With Norming AP automation, You only need 3 simple steps to get your invoices generated in your ERP system. First, upload the invoice or send it by email to start the OCR process. OCR automatically extracts invoice details. User just needs to review and confirm the captured data. Once verified, the invoice is routed for approval, and the original PDF is automatically attached. After approval, the invoice is automatically generated in Sage 300, no manual entry needed. Let's jump into a quick live demo and see how it works. You can email the invoices, or have the supplier email them to a designated address for OCR processing. The OCR system can be set up to accept invoices only from authorized email addresses. Let's attach 3 PDFs to the email. Invoice files like PDF or images to be recognized can be directly dragged and dropped into the email. A few minutes after you send the email, you can just log in to the Norming web portal and find the invoices. You'll see all the 3 new invoice files here, and surprisingly, the invoice data such as invoice number, invoice date has already been pulled out from the PDFs automatically. You can also upload invoices from your local or network folders right within the web portal. Go to AP Invoice and click Upload. You can pick multiple invoices at once for OCR processing. Click OK to start the recognition. The PDF files are now being processed. Pretty soon, the OCR will grab all the invoice info and fill it in automatically. If there's a warning or error, you can click into the invoice to see what's going on. This feature helps you identify duplicate invoices, and the application includes additional validations to avoid mistakes. After the OCR populates the invoice data, the user can click the Verify button to review the invoice details. OCR can recognize the supplier's name and automatically match it to the supplier in Sage 300. If it can't find a match, no worries, you can easily update the supplier details right there in the web portal. Since the OCR service is fully integrated with Sage 300, you can see all supplier names and GL accounts from Sage 300 in the web portal. Click Details. The OCR technology is capable of accurately recognizing and populating all invoice details, including item descriptions, quantities. GL accounts can be predefined in Sage 300 and automatically populated. If needed, users can easily review and edit these accounts. If users want to add more description or modify anything, they can select a specific area on the PDF, and the text from that area will be automatically captured and updated in the corresponding invoice fields. Once everything's verified, the user just clicks Confirm to send the invoice into the approval process. As you can see, thanks to automation, there's no need to enter data manually, saving your AP team valuable time and helping avoid mistakes. Once the information on PDF been verified, invoice requisition can be generated for approval purposes with all the header and line item details in place. The PDF gets auto-attached to the requisition, so it's ready for any future audits. It also comes with a GL budget check feature that compares invoice amounts against predefined budgets in Sage 300. If the invoice exceeds the budget, the approval workflow can flag it for additional review, helping you control spending and avoid unexpected overruns. You can get the real-time approval status after submit. The customizable workflow engine lets you set up rule-based routing. For example, if you have one GL segment for the department, the invoice lines can go straight to corresponding department's manager based on the GL segment codes. Approvers get email notifications. They can approve invoices from the web portal. And if you don't need approvals, the invoice can just be automatically created in Sage 300. As soon as the invoice is approved, it's immediately available in Sage 300 along with approval audit details. You can also download or view attachments like the PDF inside Sage 300. Invoices are generated in accounts payable upon the posting of the invoice requisition. We hope the AP automation solution brings you faster invoice processing.
Okay, so everyone, I think you will have a basic idea how the AP solution works with norming. So you need 4 steps to get the invoice to be generated in the Sage 300 with the OCR solution. And the first step is you need to upload the invoice in PDF or in the image format to the OCR server. Then user can quickly review on the PDF information that's been extracted, and then it can go through the approval process. Finally, once the approval is done, you will find the invoice can be auto-generated in the Sage 300. So now let's take a look from the implementation perspective from the first step. If you want to upload the invoice, you need to first to go into the admin portal from the norming resource manager. So you can log in use your admin account and go to start administrative services, then ESS portal option, and go to OCR. Here you can enable OCR for AP or PO invoice, or both of them. And then you will need a public URL, because the reason we need a public URL is for the OCR is a cloud service. So that means if you look at the network diagram here, here is your resource manager portal, and the PDF. If you want to get the PDF being recognized, we need to connect to the cloud server for the OCR processing, and the OCR server will return the data, the key data, like the invoice pricing or the vendor information, to the resource manager portal to proceed. So that means if you want to talk to a cloud server, you need to make sure your resource manager portal is public. Otherwise, you will not be able to access to the cloud server, and the cloud server doesn't know your external IP address. It cannot, the data cannot be returned properly to the web portal. So in this case, you need to make sure the IP you entered or the domain name is public. We found some clients or partners, when they implement the OCR solution, they don't know whether this IP is public. So here is very helpful to then can help you. So you can click into the link here and just enter your IP address here. And to search it, and you will find the information like this IP is from Beijing, China. So that means if this application, from this application, you can get the IP address from a public network, then that means this IP can be used for the OCR connection. Otherwise, if you enter some like a local or private IP, and if you search for this IP, it will tell you that it's a private IP address. So you have to connect your client's IT team to make sure a public IP has been assigned to the web portal server. and you need to open the port number. If you're using the default, because the norming Tomcat is running with Tomcat, so the default port number for Tomcat is 8080. So you ask the IT to open the port for the OCR processing. Then the other thing you need to take care is, because the OCR is a cloud service, but maybe your client concerned about the security, and they don't want to make or expose the norming web portal to a public address with a public address. So you can just whitelist the OCR server's IP from the web portal server. And here are the two IP addresses used by the OCR. And you can tell your client's IT team to set up these two IP on their firewall to whitelist the IPs. So they can block the rest of IPs from the external internet and only make access to the OCR servers with the following IPs. And this is the first step. You need to go to the admin portal to configure the public URL and enable the OCR service for the norming web portal. So that's the first step, will be used for if you want to upload the invoice to the OCR service, to the OCR server. And the second step is for the configuration of your AP vendor matching, because when the invoice being uploaded to the OCR service, the company name of the invoice can be extracted from the PDF. And if you want to further automate the matching process, you need to configure the vendor's name or vendor description in your ERP system. Now let's take a look. For example, we log in to the norming portal. And go to Procure to Pay OCR task. And you will see the upload button, and we'll be able to upload the files in the following formats, like images or PDF, and it should be less than 20 megabytes. You can upload up to 100 files in one batch. So we can choose an invoice to upload or multiple invoices to upload. Now we can start recognition. And in a few seconds, the invoice number, invoice date, and the total amount can be recognized by the OCR server. And you just need to click into the verify button and to see the details. And if you look at the vendor name, this vendor name is from the PDF, that's Sample Company Limited. So if you want to match this name to your ERP, let's say 300 vendor name, you need to configure the vendor name in the AP master in Sage 300. If you go to the backend and check the vendors, you'll find the vendor name here is Sample Company Limited. So this is how OCR can map with your ERP, with your Sage 300 vendors automatically. And if the name doesn't match, you will need to manually specify the vendor through the OCR screen. So that means you have to search the vendor name manually if that name doesn't exist in your Sage 300. So the second step for the configuration is make sure your vendor description match with the vendor name on the PDF. So it can be automatically mapped. And then after the vendor been matched, you can also set the default distribution code or the journal ledger code, so the AP vendors. And in the invoicing tab of the AP vendors, you can set the distribution by the code or the GL accounts. In this case, for all the detail lengths that's been recognized by the OCR, because we can look into the details. If you click into the details on the OCR screen, every line details can also be recognized by the OCR, and with unit cost and descriptions. And for the GL accounts, if you want the GL accounts to be auto-populated by the system, you need to pre-configure this through your AP vendors. If you don't have the default GL accounts, the accounts will be populated as empty, and you have to manually search for the correct GL account. So the second step to auto-populate for each line details with the proper GL account, you can go to your AP vendors and set the predefined account or distribution code. So that's the second step. For the configuration, we need to make sure the vendor information can properly match between the PDF or images against your ERP vendors. And the second is the taxation for the AP invoice. Because the OCR solution is 100% integrates with Sage 300. So you can choose to set a default tax amount through the accounts payable invoice for the accounts payable invoice. And you can set the default by the following rules in Sage. So go into the backend and go to the options. Here you can choose to use a default tax amount by enter or by calculation. So if you choose to enter, to use the enter method, then the amount been recognized by the OCR. For example, if the total amount tax amount is 13,000, then this amount will be used for your AP invoice. Otherwise, if you choose to use the calculation, then the amount on the PDF will be ignored. Then the system will use the details net amount and to apply the tax rules in your tax services. It will recalculate the tax amount based on your tax services rules. It doesn't use the total amount on the PDF. So there are two options for how you want to calculate the tax amount with the OCR solution. And after that, if you look at the screen here, the first step, you know how you can upload the invoice, how you can configure the system through admin portal to upload the invoice, then how you can use the OCR screen to match against your vendor or the GR codes. The next step is to you can get the invoice approved through the norming resource manager. That means resource manager AP requisition entry need to be generated for the approval. So the configuration for the third step is to create a requisition type, create an AP requisition type in the Sage 300. So you can go to the backend, to the resource manager, and go to procure to pay and set up. And here you will find the AP invoice requisition type. And in the requisition type, if you need approvals on the invoice, you can assign the requisition type with a approval workflow. And the workflow can be defined in the resource manager workflows with a conditional based. It's a conditional based workflow. So you can use your a invoice dollar amount have different conditions. For example, you can have invoice that's less than $1,000 to be approved by the finance manager. And for those invoice above 1,000, it can be approved by the general manager. So you can go through the approval by creating the workflows in the resource manager. And you assign the workflows to the requisition type. And if you don't want a very complex approval policy, you can simply have one default requisition type for all invoices. Then the second step is you need to make sure the requisition type is used for the OCR, and this step is required. If you miss this step when you log in the norming portal and after the OCR recognition, you will get errors from the OCR screen if the OCR requisition tab is missing from the options. So let's see how and where we can set the requisition tab for the OCR. We can go to setup, then go to the options, and AP invoice requisition. You will find one option for the OCR. So you just need to specify the type that you just created for the AP invoice. So once the recognition is done by OCR, requisition will be generated following the predefined requisition type. And there's another option. Maybe customer doesn't need additional approvals. They simply need the invoice to be generated in Sage without approval. So you can have this option enabled. The option you can find in the Sage, on the same screen, to auto submit the invoice for OCR. That means after the invoice been generated as a AP invoice requisition, user doesn't need to manually click the submit button. The invoice will be auto-submitted for approval. And if you don't need approval, you just need to leave the workflow as blank. So invoice can be auto-generated as soon as you finish the verification process on the PDF. So for example, here we confirm on the invoice. And if you go to the procure to pay AP invoice requisition, you will find the invoice being generated as a requisition in the resource manager. So if you choose that option to auto submit the AP invoice requisition, user doesn't have to go look into the details and manually click the submit. The system will help the user to auto submit the requisition for approval. And if without the workflow being assigned to the purchase invoice requisition, it doesn't need to be approved by any approver. So it can be automatically approved and being generated in the Sage 300 side. And these are all options. I think it's quite straightforward and easy for the configuration. You can let me know if you have any questions on the configuration. I think if you are familiar with the process, you can make the configuration completed within 1 hour time for the AP invoice. We move forward to the PO invoice with OCR, and similar to the AP invoice, we go through a very quick demo to see how it works, and we will look at the configuration part. And I'm playing the video on.
Welcome to the session. In this demo, it shows how PO invoices can be processed faster and smarter with norming AI and automation fully integrated with Sage 300. You just need 5 simple steps to get your invoice automatically generated in Sage 300. Upload or email your invoice directly to the application. AI technology instantly scans and extracts key details such as vendor name, PO number, item descriptions, quantities, taxes, and totals. The application automatically matches invoice lines with related PO and receipt lines in Sage 300. Machine learning helps improve accuracy over time, which is especially useful if the receipt has many line items. Review and confirm the extracted data. If everything looks good, send it through the approval workflow, which includes full audit trails, conditional routing, and mobile/email approval options. Once approved, the invoice is seamlessly generated in Sage 300 as a PO invoice requisition, complete with supporting documents, approval history, and all details ready for posting, without any manual rekeying or import required. Let's quick jump into the demo. The first step is to email or upload the invoice to OCR server. The app will automatically read them with OCR, so you don't have to do anything manually. To email invoices, you can select multiple PDF or image files at once and just drag and drop them into the email. In the email settings, you can assign a unique email address to receive PDF files for each of your Sage 300 companies, and set up a whitelist so files are only read from approved senders. Once sent, the app automatically picks them up for OCR processing. Users can quickly review emailed invoices by logging into the norming web portal with their employee ID or company email. After you're logged in, head over to Procure to Pay, OCR tasks, and you'll see all the invoices that have been recognized. The list shows the summary info at a glance, like invoice number, amount, and supplier name. If you spot an invoice with an error or warning status, just click into it and you can check the full error message. The application carefully checks each invoice to ensure consistency and avoid any duplicate entries. If you are already logged into the web portal, you may also choose to manually upload invoices. To upload invoices, just click the Upload button and choose the files you want to add. The app lets you upload up to 100 files in a single batch, making it quick and easy to handle large numbers of invoices. As soon as you click the Start button, the invoice will be recognized automatically. Within a few seconds of clicking Start, the app will pull all the key invoice information from your invoice. OCR extraction. At this step, users don't need to enter any data manually. They just need to verify that all necessary information has been correctly extracted from the invoice and that vendor items have been properly mapped to Sage 300 items. Now, let's click on the Verify button to take a closer look at the invoice details. Once you click on it, you'll see the invoice open right in your browser. Over in the top right, you can see the app has recognized and populate the PO numbers from the invoice. With the PO number available, the app can perform three-way matching in the next stage, the matching stage. This makes it easy to quickly and accurately match your invoice with the goods receipt and PO, helping you avoid errors and save time. The app can also pull the supplier name and tax amount from the invoice. The supplier name can be automatically matched to the Sage 300 vendor code using the vendor description. If you click into the detail lines, you'll see the vendor item number, description, cost, and tax all automatically filled in by OCR engine. You can add or remove items by clicking the Add or Delete button at the bottom left. If the app can't match an item to a Sage 300 item, it will automatically treat it as an additional cost. Item mapping rules can be predefined in Sage 300, so the app automatically matches vendor items to your internal items using their descriptions. No need to manually pick the Sage 300 item codes. On that, the app uses machine to get smarter over time. If it can't find a match, it will learn the invoice item to the right Sage 300 item based on the description. Using the click and drag feature, you can quickly grab any info you need from the invoice, and the app automatically pulls the data for you, no typing required. When everything looks good, just click Next Step to continue. Auto-match data. At this stage, you'll go through the invoice lines that have been recognized by OCR in previous step and match them to the corresponding goods receipt lines in Sage 300. This step helps make sure every item on the invoice lines up with what was actually received. It's a quick way to spot any discrepancies and ensures your records are accurate before moving forward. In the primary information, you'll see all the key details at a glance, things like the invoice summary, vendor information, and the related PO and receipt numbers from Sage 300. This gives you a clear overview of the invoice before you dive into the line-by-line details. Next, the app lets you review the invoice you're processing against the corresponding receipt in Sage 300. You'll see items, any additional costs, and totals, including quantities, tax amounts, and the overall total. This makes it easy to quickly spot any discrepancies and ensure everything matches before moving forward. The app finds all related receipt lines in Sage 300 using the PO number captured earlier. When you click on an invoice line, you will find it can automatically match the invoice details with the receipt details based on the Sage 300 item descriptions. This is a huge time saver, especially for receipts with many line items, compared to mapping them manually. If you scroll to the right, you'll see a side-by-side comparison of the invoice and receipt lines by quantity and amount, helping you identify any differences quickly. Additional costs might not match a receipt since they aren't always available at the receipt stage. If it's not an additional cost, you can map it to a Sage 300 inventory or PO item. The app will remember this mapping for next time, so you won't need to do it manually again. When you click the plus or zoom button, the app will populate all the related receipt lines. You still have the flexibility to manually select which receipt lines to apply and adjust the quantities as needed. This way, you can ensure everything matches perfectly before moving on, giving you full control over the invoice to receipt mapping. If you untick Display All, you'll see just the invoice lines that haven't been matched, so you can focus on those. You can use the filter to quickly find and display invoice lines by PO or receipt number, making it easy to focus on what matters. After the matching is done, just click Confirm to start an approval workflow for the invoice. The workflow is optional, so if you want, you can skip it and generate the PO invoice in Sage 300 right away. As soon as the matching is confirmed, the app instantly generates a PO invoice requisition ready for approval. In the PO invoice requisition, you can easily drill down to the related receipt and purchase request to get more details. This lets you see exactly where each invoice line came from, helping ensure everything is accurate before approval. You can check all details from the receipt or invoice, including the approval audit trail and attachments, giving you full and quick visibility at a glance. The PO invoice requisition automatically includes taxes, additional costs, and totals. The invoice PDF or image file will also be auto-attached for easy review. You can set permissions for users to edit invoices, and the app provides built-in over-invoice checks to prevent errors by showing alert message when the invoice is over the expected quantity or total. Once you click Submit, the workflow starts. It keeps a complete audit trail, showing who approved, when, and any comments they added. You can even see the whole workflow path in a graphical view. The workflow is conditional, so you can set multi-level approvals based on things like invoice amount or department, and it automatically routes the invoice to the right approvers. Approvers can approve invoices via the web portal or the mobile app. They'll get an email notification and can simply click the link in the email to approve quickly. Approvers can log into the web portal to see their list of invoices waiting for approval. They can also drill down to the related receipt or PO to review all the invoice details before approving. If an approver needs more input from someone else in the organization, they can transfer the invoice to that person to get additional comments. Approvers will also see any over-invoice warnings or errors before they approve the invoice. The application is also built within Sage 300. After logging in, go to Resource Manager, Procure to Pay, and you can see that the invoice requisition has now been generated in Sage 300. The norming web portal is fully integrated with Sage 300, so once an invoice is approved, it can automatically generate it in Sage 300 application. There's no need for any manual synchronization, importing, or retyping. This seamless integration saves time, reduces errors, and ensures that your accounting records are always up to date. When you click into it, all the details are right there: invoice summary, taxes, terms, additional costs, and even Sage 300 optional fields if you need them. You'll also see the approval trail, any supporting documents uploaded through the web portal, exchange rates for multi-currency, and of course, the total. Invoices can be posted manually or automatically with a scheduler, and once posted, both PO and AP invoices are created in Sage 300. With the attachment feature provided by norming, it helps ensuring compliance and transparency during internal or external audits. Supporting documents are all kept in one place for easy reference. Thanks for watching. With the norming PO Invoice OCR solution.
Okay, so for the PO invoice, it's quite similar to the AP invoice. It just has one additional step. For the three-way matching, it doesn't only match with the vendor, it's also match with item descriptions and match with purchase orders. And let's look at the configuration. For the first step, it is same as AP invoice. You need to enable the OCR for PO or AP invoice, and you still need a public URL for the resource manager portal. So this step is the same as accounts payable invoice. And the second step, because for PO invoice, you don't have to set up a distribution code. So you only need to make sure the vendor name can be matched against the supplier name on the PDF. So you don't have to configure for the distribution code or the predefined GL code for the vendor. So that's the only difference between the AP invoice and the PO invoice. And the second step is for item matching rule. And this is the difference between AP and PO invoice. Because for AP invoice, you don't have to take care about the items. But for PO invoice, you have to make sure every item on the PDF that can be matched against your purchase order. So you have to make sure the item description can be mapped on the mapped against the PDF and your Sage 300 items. And you can go to the procure to pay for the mapping. You can go to the procure to pay in Sage 300, and here you can go to setup, and you'll find the PO invoice automation mapping. So that's the place where you can map the items. You can select the item from your PO or from your IC. If you are using inventory, that could be inventory items. And once you select the items, for example, we choose a item for 103, 106, and you will be able to define the mapping rules by vendors, because different vendor may have different naming rules for their item. So the first column, you can choose which vendor you would like to match against. And you can choose a mapping description. And this for the mapping description, it is the description on the PDF, because the description on the item number will be shown at the top of the screen. And the 106, if you look into the items from IC, go to IC items, you'll see the item description for IC. And if you're using PO, that will be the PO item description. So you will tell the system what items should be matched against with this IC item. And you will tell the system if the system find an item with a description like a laptop, it should be matched against 106 for vendor 1200. And let's go to the screen and take a look. Now we can upload an invoice for purchase order invoice. Start recognition. And the recognition is done. Click into the invoice. And the vendor can be matched because we have the proper vendor name in the Sage 300. Then click into the details. So the detailed description can also be populated because the OCR can read the description in details. And the description for the first line item is a laptop. So the system will match the laptop against a IC item description. And once the system finds a match, it will auto-populate the item number on the OCR screen. So you don't have to manually select the items from your inventory or your PO. The system can help you to auto-match against the items that have been recognized by the OCR service. So that means it will save a lot of time. You don't have to go through each detail lens and to click into the item to find the item codes by yourself. The system will be able to auto-populate the item numbers by matching with the descriptions. So that's the second configuration for item matching rule. And there's another rule that you can use for the total matching rule. And you will find the option in procure to pay options, and at the bottom you find this to support matched invoice based on invoice total. And this option can be used if you have because the system can read by the invoice by the total. See, the total amount for this invoice is 2,800, and if this amount that match with the total amount on the purchase order or purchase order invoice, then regardless the items can be matched properly, the receipt will be fully invoiced. So it doesn't check against the items again. If you just check the option, the system will compare the total amount on the invoice against the total amount on the receipt. And if the total matched, they won't check against the details. So the invoice will be fully the receipt will be fully invoiced later after you click the confirm button to the next step. And the invoice can be auto-generated and without detail level validations. So that's the second option for the item matching. And this is the only difference between the two invoices, PO and AP. You need one additional step to set up the item matching rule. And for the approval workflows, it is also similar to the AP invoice. You need a purchase order invoice requisition type to be configured in the backend. So you can go to purchase order invoice requisition and create a default requisition. And if you need approvals, you can also assign a workflow. Or if you want to skip the approval flow workflows, you can use the option here to auto submit. And then user doesn't have to submit and approve the requisition. And then PO invoice can be generated automatically in the Sage 300. So the other option you can find in the procure to pay setup options to auto submit the invoices created from the OCR. So you can use this option to skip the manual submission. And if you want to skip the approval of the invoice, you just leave the approval workflow as blank in the requisition tab. Okay, that's all the configuration need for the PO invoice with OCR. Any questions? Next part of the configuration is some general configuration for the OCR solution. We have one configuration we call this OCR manager. So the OCR manager is can work as a user with as a super user, they can view all the invoices that's been uploaded from all users. And you can use the OCR manager to set the field permissions, like to control where each field can be accessed or viewed from by users, and they can change the field order on the OCR screen. And you can also enable the SIP 300 optional fields from the OCR manager. And to enable the OCR manager, you need to go to the ESS group or ESS user. So you'll find the option from the groups or from the users. So to use the OCR manager, you need to include the OCR manager on the web portal. Then after logging in, go to the management tool and the OCR manager. You will see all the invoices uploaded from all users. You see the employee's name. So it only not only for your own uploaded invoice. Any user, if they use the system to upload the invoice, can be viewed through the OCR manager. And if you click into the queue settings, you will see all the field names that used by the OCR screen. So to add or to show some of the fields on the OCR screen, you just click on the small eye here. So if you make this field visible for the user, you need to see the eye here. And if you want to disable it, you just click on it to hide the columns. And you can just drag and drop the order to below or above the certain fields to change the orders. So you can use the OCR manager to manage the field permission and to change the order of each field on the OCR screen. And you can use the common configuration. It can be very helpful because for some companies, they may have PDF, very large PDF. Maybe it's more than 10 pages for each PDF. And because for each page of the PDF will be charged by the OCR service, and only maybe the first 10 page has the useful information, the key invoice information. And you don't want the OCR to scan for the rest of the pages on the PDF. So you can limit the number of pages to be scanned by the OCR. Maybe I just need the OCR to look through the first 3 pages. So maybe the PDF have 10 pages in total, and the rest 7 pages will not be processed by the OCR. So if you want to save money and don't want to manually cut the pages from the PDF, you can use this function to read only the first 3 pages in order to get the invoice information. And that's for the OCR manager. And here we got the 300 optional fields at the bottom. If you want to enter the optional field information, we also support that on OCR page. So you can add a new Sage 300 optional fields. And to define what the field name should be shown on the OCR screen. And then after you enter or specify the optional fields on the OCR, it will be finally converted into accounts payable or PO invoices with the same optional fields. So it looks like you can find this in a PDF, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you will find if you have optional fields being added to the screen, then you can use these optional fields directly on the OCR with the OCR, so you don't have to later on to add this through the Sage 300 program or through the norming web portal. You can specify the optional fields at the first place when the PDF or image is being processed. So that's a user like is normally used by the IT administrator or the finance manager to make use of this function to change the to set up the fields that should be used by the users. And the last configuration we need to go through is the email setup for the OCR, because the invoice cannot only be uploaded, it can also be emailed to a dedicated email address. Like I showed you in the demo, if you look into the demo.
Welcome to your invoice to OCR server. The app will automatically read them with OCR, so you don't have to do anything manually. To email invoices, you can select multiple PDF or image files at once and just drag and drop them into the email. In the email,
So with the email function, you just need to put all the PDFs in a single email and email it to a dedicated email address. The OCR will be able to receive the PDF and start the OCR process. To configure this, you just need to go to your admin portal and go to ESS options, portal options, go to the OCR and tick the capture invoice via email. Here you need to set up with your email server information. You can use POP3 or Microsoft Graph configuration, and you enter the server's name and the SSL information, and you choose the email address that to receive the PDF for each of your Sage entities. And you enter your password. So the left part of the screen is for the email configuration to receive the emails. And the right side part of the screen is for user who can send email for OCR processing, because not all the users or all email addresses can send the PDF for the OCR or to the OCR server. So you can limit it which user can send the email to this email address. And if this user or this email is not in the list, then the OCR service will not process the PDF from that address. So for all your AP users, you can add their email address to the right-hand side of the screen as a whitelist. And the user with this email address can send the PDFs, and then they can start the OCR, start with the OCR task from their web portal screen. Please note that you have to also make sure the user in the resource manager have the same email address. For example, if you look into the register here, employee register, if you want the OCR user, this user to proceed with the OCR, you need to make sure the email address on the whitelist, they are the same email address. So user like with support@norming.com, this OCR user will be able to see the invoice that's sent from the OCR through the OCR task list. And if the email doesn't match, for example, user are using the support from Norming to send the PDF to the OCR at norming.com. And if this email address cannot be found from the employee register, then user will not be able to see the invoices from their OCR task list. So make sure if a user need to send the PDFs to that email address, you need to make sure the same email address will be used by the resource manager user. Otherwise, they don't have the permission to access the PDF that's uploaded through the email system. And that's all for the configuration for the OCR. I think it's very simple, and there are not too much options for the OCR actually. So you simply need to configure the invoice type, and there are a few options under the main setup of the procure to pay options. So that's all for the OCR configuration. You should find this very easy to implement it. Okay, any final questions?